Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. Today, we're going to discuss 9 income streams that pay my bills and how you can actually do this too. Now, last year, I made a video about 7 income streams, and this will be an update to that conversation. Now, in the last 3 or 4 years, I have not worked a traditional job. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand why I needed to create multiple streams of income and how you can also do the same thing for yourself. Most people are traditionally taught to focus on just one thing. You need to get a job, you need to make money from this single source of income, and everything will depend on this one income stream. And because this is so common, most of us just never question it. Our friends do it, our parents did it, and some of them are even still doing it right now. And that makes it easy to just fall in line and do the exact same thing. For most of us in school and just in life in general, no one teaches you how to build financial security. At least they didn't do that when I was growing up. They teach you how to work a full-time job, how to just survive and stay in this routine for 35 years or longer. But as I've stated before, when I got fired from my first job, that took my only source of income away from me, and that's when I came to some realizations. First of all, everyone is replaceable. It does not matter how good you are at your job or the rapport that you think you have with your coworkers, you can be replaced. Second, if you don't find more ways to make money, you will leave yourself financially exposed, and that is not where you want to be. And the fact of the matter is, this doesn't just apply to low salary jobs. Even if you're a highly paid professional, in some ways you're still stuck. If you never learn to create various sources of income, then you're one misstep away from financial ruin. And that's when I knew I can't rely on just one paycheck, even if that paycheck was 6 figures. And on this channel, I continue to discuss wealth building strategies. I studied from the wealthiest individuals in this country and how they got that way. And I always discovered a pattern in order to do this. And they don't rely on one stream of income. That is like the pattern that I always saw. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, like I did in the previous video, I want to start with the 3 types of income. Now, we talked about this before, but if you're new to my channel, you might be hearing this for the first time. Now, there are 3 types of income. Active, also known as earned income. There's also passive income, and there's portfolio income. So number 1, active income or earned income is money you get from working. This is your income that you would put on, let's say, like a W-2 form. This type of income is hands down the most heavily taxed of the 3 types. Most people will go through their entire adult life with this one income source as it is the most common. This is what we're taught that we need to do to make a living. If you earn active income only, you're trading your time for money. Now, number 2 is passive income. Now, this type of income is what I focus on the most. The best part is that it's not directly tied to active work, but you need to realize this has to start from somewhere, and that somewhere is typically active income from what you do right now, like working your job in order to actually build passive income. In other words, you get paid from your job with an annual salary. Now, instead of spending more than you make, you should focus on investing in assets that will provide extra cash to pay you for liabilities down the road. However, I do want to point out the other way to create passive income when you don't have money is to leverage time. So for example, when you get off work, if you were to create a YouTube channel, you can technically make money from Google AdSense from a video that you made 3 months ago. So just be aware that passive income can be created from not just investing money, but also investing time as well. The IRS states that passive income streams are derived from like rental properties, limited partnerships, or other enterprises in which one is not actively involved. Now, again, that's what the IRS states, but there are many forms of this. Number 3 is portfolio income, and this is income and profits from things like stocks, exchange traded funds, ETFs, or real estate investment trust, REITs, as well as capital gains, like if you trade stock. Now, portfolio income can make you a lot of money in a very short amount of time. When the economy is on fire, it can seem like a no-brainer to buy assets low and to sell them high. Similar to how the market conditions are right now. A lot of stocks are hitting their 52-week lows, and for me, I'm consistently buying on a weekly basis without fail because I don't care if it takes weeks, months, years. I know that at some point I am going to profit off of this. And this is usually a form of income that people kind of misunderstand because they try to use money that they borrow in order to do this, and that will always fail. The thing about portfolio income is it only works if you already make a pretty good amount of money and then you're buying and investing consistently. That's the only way to be successful with portfolio income. After I lost my first job, I began to read, study, and kind of mimic how millionaires make their money, which of course led me to a ton of finance books. I watched a whole bunch of interviews and a bunch of documentaries. I mean, that's really how I got most of my information. And the thing is, everyone has their own interpretation of it and their philosophies, but honestly, most of the information is the same from a principle perspective. I'm not saying all of it is the same. You should definitely read and you should definitely learn as much as you can, but I would say the principle, the core principles to making money really is the same. But the number one thing that stood out to me was the fact that most millionaires had multiple streams of income. Now, at that time, I only had one, which obviously was not good. So I thought to myself, okay, great. I understand that there's this idea that I need to have multiple ways to make money, and that sounds amazing. But as I said before, so many people go through their entire life and they struggle to maintain one single stream of income, let alone adding on multiple, which I'm sure most of you are thinking right now, and rightfully so, like that makes sense. Starting out, I felt this way until I actually started putting into practice what the most successful people do. And I would say that's where most people fail. They never actually try. Like, they hear about this stuff and then they hear about the ways that they can make money. And even for me, I got psyched out because I felt like, who can do this? Like, that's crazy. I would hear people on YouTube talking how I'm talking, and I would be thinking like, there's no way that anyone's going to pay me to do this or that. But I never actually tried to do it. But eventually it became inevitable for me to, eventually start trying, because it seemed like everyone was learning from the same resources. Everyone learned from the same books, the same podcasts, the same courses, and of course, like YouTube, like you're doing right now. Now, there is one thing that I want to make very clear about multiple streams of income that even these books or these personalities didn't actually say, or maybe it just wasn't very clear to me at the time. No one builds multiple streams of income by trying to work on 9 different things at the same time. That's not how this works. Like, if you try to work on multiple things, it's only going to hurt you. I recommend you start with just one thing, and you want to learn this one thing deeply. You want to get good enough at that one thing that it makes money with as little wasted effort as possible. And I think that's the part that no matter how many people I talk to when it comes to coachings, like, I can tell when I'm talking to someone who already has a business or who's already making money, because they go right into basically how to structure this and how to scale it. They already know how to do it. But the people who are just starting always want to know, how long is it going to take? I can never answer that for anybody. And I can tell you that for me, just to be able to stop thinking like that, it probably took me like 13, 14 years just to stop thinking like that and to start actually saying, I don't care how long this takes. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to do it. Now, most successful people, they have one main income stream that gave them the foundation to expand. And in many cases, they spend years building and refining that one income stream before adding anything else. And that's exactly what I did. For me personally, I had one passion income stream, which I will talk about, that did make me some money. But at the time, I didn't really think about it. But the first income stream that I had, where I would say it paid all of my bills, that was e-commerce. And then before that, I was trying very different things all at the same time. And then it turned out to be a huge mistake. It split my focus and it slowed down my progress, and it made it so much harder for me to gain real traction. Now, the better approach is to pick, again, one thing, master it, and then move on. Now, my general rule is to focus on one major opportunity for at least 1 year, or wait until you've made at least $100,000 from that thing. And that $100,000 can be broken up over like several years. But I would say if you've made $100,000, especially within like a 3 to 5 year time frame, I think you understand that thing enough where you should be looking to scale it. At that point, you should be looking at how to turn that into 200 or 300,000. And then eventually, once you understand that well enough, you should be able to move on to the very next thing. And to be clear, I'm not talking about your job salary. I mean, one business or income stream makes that amount of money on its own. So now we're going to discuss my 9 income streams. And as you can see, I have an extra one for this year. I'll also have a 10th one that I'll be adding very soon, and I'll talk about that. But I wanted to also give more clarification to earned income. There is absolutely nothing wrong with earned income. There's nothing wrong with working a regular 9-to-5 job and using that as your primary source. Most people will leverage their paycheck and they invest it. They'll put it into a business and then they'll create a brand new stream. In fact, a lot of self-made millionaires got their start by using money that they earned from a job to build something bigger. And the other thing that I want to point out is that all of the stuff that I'm talking about, I probably have a video covering. So you can look at my business credit playlist. You can also go through my channel. Almost every single stream that we're talking about, I have a dedicated video on. So if you're interested in any of these, you can learn how to do it as well. But the one thing I want to point out that I know it's hard for people to understand, because it was hard for me, most of making money is psychological. It has to do with what you believe you could do. And you also can't think, how fast will I make this money? If you are only focused on time, usually you will fail because you don't really want to do it. You just want it to happen quickly. I think that if people really stop focusing on how fast will this happen and just started focusing on the process, they would get to where they want to be at quicker. Stop focusing on how fast it will happen. Just focus on the goal, okay? Just start. Now, number 9 is the one that I make the least amount of money from, but it's the one that I spent the most time on, and I worked on this for years. It's royalties and licensing income. Now, most of you that have been watching my channel for a while know that I'm a musician. I always will be, and I've made money from making music. This type of income will come from your intellectual property, things that you create that other people can use. Now, that could be music, photography, inventions, or if you license a course or an idea, or even for your writing, something like that. I've also noticed that in the last few years, I've gotten so many offers to like put this stuff in like video games, movies, things like that. So there have been really cool ways that I have been able to monetize this as more time has actually passed. And as I'm going through these, I want you to actually think, how could this work for you in your personal life? Now, I don't have a dedicated video on music. I have YouTube channels with like tons of old stuff where all I did was record music, videos, all that kind of stuff. You know, that's a while ago. Eventually, I plan on getting back to it. When I'm done with everything else, I'm just gonna go record music for fun, and I'm going to do that, and I don't care what happens with it. That is going to be what I do as my passion. So right now, that's not my business, but I still can earn a little bit of money from that. Number 8 is Amazon FBA. I've talked about this a few times. I did some stuff last year where I made an additional, I think, $30,000 like really quick with Amazon FBA. Prior to that, I think I did like $120,000 with Amazon FBA. So it's something that I learned very deeply. And then I also figured out ways to do it like very passively, where now it's not like my main focus. I don't do it all day, every day, but I know how to do it for certain seasons where I could easily generate anywhere between like $30,000 to, I would say, even $150,000. Now, if you want to learn more about Amazon FBA, I have an entire video that shows you how to set it up. I also have an entire video about my 1-year review and my experience with Amazon FBA and how much money that I actually made for net, for gross, what you can expect, the time and effort that it takes. It's a realistic breakdown of what I would say is the honest truth about how that actually works, the good and the bad. So if you were interested in that, I highly recommend that you watch that video. Number 7 is dividend income. Now, when you invest in dividend paying stocks or funds, you get a cut of that company's profits. This would also be considered portfolio income, and it grows over time. Now, right now, I would say this is my 3rd lowest type of income, but I started with like a lot of money that I made from my job. I also used a lot of money that I've made from YouTube and other business ventures to keep investing in this on a consistent basis. Now, once again, I have plenty of videos where I talk about growing money, because growing money is probably more important than actually just earning it. And I know most people on this channel don't care about that because, again, instant gratification, hacks, blah, 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 blah. I know that that's like the big thing, but when you actually do start making a lot of money, you know, hopefully, I hope you do. When you do, the next thing you'll figure out is how to actually grow money you've already made. And finally, the last thing you'll probably worry about is taxes. Eventually, it's going to go in that order. So I do understand that for the people who are usually starting out, They just want to figure out how to make some money quickly. Then eventually, when you start making more money, all of these things just naturally will come up. You'll start learning about how to make money for you. And then of course, you want to keep that money because the government will tax the heck out of it. And again, I've made so many videos on compounding assets, the best ETFs to buy and hold forever. And the great thing about this is that anyone can do this with very little effort. And if you're serious, you just need to buy companies. I would suggest ETFs that pay out dividends. Number 6 is affiliate marketing, and this would be considered business income, maybe even passive income, but this is a revenue sharing marketing strategy where third-party affiliates like a blogger, like a YouTuber, like an influencer, they will promote a business product or service in exchange for a commission, and this one will be generated through a unique tracking link. Essentially, an affiliate will earn money by promoting other companies, and then you get paid when people either use that service, click a link, make a purchase, anything like that. Now, this for me is very new. I probably have only been doing it for, I would say, like, I guess almost 2 years now. I want to say, I think a little somewhere around there. If I rounded it up, I would say at least like 2 years I've been doing this. Now, this is a source of income that I probably will be scaling back, but I still use it right now, and it is very effective. Number 5 is ebooks, but I also want to say ebooks and digital products because I have multiple stores. Now, I would put this under passive income. It's really under that umbrella. You get to make money from things that you've already created, so you don't have to consistently keep working. And unlike earned income, there is no cap. The more value that you create, the more that you can actually make with this one. And this could also fall under online courses or launching an online store. It can also fall under creating templates or, building certain things that you can actually resell that are just digital products. I just did a re-release for a video on how to actually create an ebook. I'll link that video right here if you're interested in learning how to do that. Now we have online coaching. Now, I have pulled back from this in the last few months simply because it's very close to active income and I have to actively be like doing something. And eventually, hopefully like this year, I'm hoping to completely get rid of online coaching. I don't really want to lean on that anymore. I think it's great, it makes money, but I will say that I think that my time is a little bit more important right now than to actually keep doing this particular one. However, if you're just starting out and maybe you're doing some online offerings, I think this is a great income source to have if you have valuable skills and you can assist people with something. Number 3 is YouTube, and that's going to be for Google AdSense. Every time YouTube runs an ad before a video or doing a video, I'm getting paid for that. Now, this number can range depending on your niche, but this is definitely a really big stream of income for me. Not only that, the bigger my catalog has gotten, it's like every month I've only been making more money since I started YouTube. I'm very engaged. I'm very active on here. I try to respond to every comment. I post 4 videos a week. Like, that's not the norm for most YouTubers. I'm aware that that's not the norm, but knowing that it can scale very quickly and you can make a lot of money, and it also created a lot of these other income streams as well. Number 2 is corporate partnerships. Now, this one is different. I partner with other brands to make them content, and believe it or not, this one pays me more than YouTube, probably online coaching, and ebooks combined. Now, technically, I am a contractor with these types of deals, which is very close to an employee, but still not quite the same. The only thing that I dislike about this is basically it's the same as active income, but I am able to control my schedule. I get to work on whatever I pick, and of course, I get to make my price. So if I want to do $10,000 for a particular project, that's what my price is. It's $10,000. If you can't meet the price, then I'm not going to do it. But like, that's just an example of the kind of thing that I'm doing. And number 1 is capital gains. I said this same thing last year, but still it is my number 1, which is the reason why it is so important for you to actually learn about growing your money, not just making money. Now, whenever you sell an asset like a stock or a home, the difference between the amount you purchased that thing for and the amount it sold for, that's capital gains. So for example, if you purchased a home for $500,000 and then you sold it 3 years later for, let's say, $750,000, then you would have a capital gains of around $250,000. Now, this type of income is subject to either long-term or short-term capital gains tax. The reason why this is so important is because all of the income streams that we talked about today, every single one. A majority of that money gets put into either like investments, or it gets put into my brokerage account where I trade. So just imagine how all the money that I'm talking about right now, I put it into a place where I can buy assets, and then sometimes with those assets, I will sell them at a higher price, buy them when they're low, and I just keep doing that over and over again. Now, would I have been able to do that if I didn't have all these other sources? Not at that same level and not at that same clip. But the great part about that is like it really can multiply your money very quickly, but it only works if you have the money to eventually do that. And a lot of times people try to skip all the other ones. Like, these are streams of income. What I mean by that is they reoccur. I can almost count on a lot of these every single month, almost guaranteed. You can't count on capital gains. It's not a guarantee. You don't know when you'll sell for a profit. So even if like, and I think for the last 6 months, I don't think I've actually had a profit, but what I did make the last time I sold was so significant, it made me more money than everything else I did that prior year. So at some point when I sell this year, more than likely I will be over $1 million, like more than likely. And then, you know, that tops anything else that I could have possibly done. And here's the great thing about when you're patient. Typically, if you hold an asset for more than 1 year before you eventually sell it, your capital gains or your long-term capital gains on that gets taxed way less. So you end up saving money just by being patient. So that is a benefit. And I think I'm very close to hitting that 1 year capital gains tax. So it's kind of awesome. Like either way, I probably will save like almost maybe 20% on taxes, which to me is the same as putting money back into my pocket. And finally, number 10 is going to be software. Now, I am developing a piece of technology that is going to be service-based and subscription-based. And based on my calculations, I believe that this particular income stream will make me more than everything combined. Like the way that I see it at scale, I believe that this income stream will eventually make it to where I could get from somewhere between, let's just say 6 figures a month to even 7 figures per month at the highest level, where eventually this is how I'm going to exit YouTube. Like last year, I can tell by like my previous video, I like to watch all of my videos because as much as they're educational for most of you, for me, they're also a documentation of where I was at in my life and what I was thinking. And previously, I could see that the problem that I had was how was I going to make money and also be less active to get from behind this desk, because I am tired of recording. I will say that I am tired of being confined to active income or various ways where I have to be present. So my goal was last year was to figure out how to get out of doing that. And I believe that I have been able to do that. The next thing I have to do is grow it, scale it. And by the time that I'm done doing that, more than likely I will not be on YouTube anymore. Or at least if you saw me, it will be not very often. And again, for me, that is a wonderful thing. Like that means that what I did was, you know, actually working. So if you don't see me, just know that that's a great thing. I did exactly what I was supposed to do, and I've moved on to something better. Now, before we wrap up, I want to go over a question that I think someone might be asking. Which one of these is best for me, or which one might be best for you as far as income streams? Now, I don't believe that any of these income streams is the best one. I believe they're all building blocks, at least in my situation. I always recommend you start with one. If you have a job right now, you'll have to adjust. Like if you have at least 2 or 3 off days, take your off days, learn a skill, learn something, watch YouTube videos, pick one thing that you would like to do. Whatever that thing is, start doing it. I don't care if you start off doing it bad, if it's ugly, if it's horrible, just start. That's all that you need to actually do. Now, I did have my royalties and things that I use for music where I did make a little bit of money off of that for a while. It wasn't enough to pay all of my bills, but it was still a little bit of money that I used to do some other business ventures. But the main one that I really did that got me started was e-commerce. Now, I used my job, I funded e-commerce, and once e-commerce made me more than my job, I left that and I was able to free up my time. That extra amount of time allowed me to start doing YouTube. YouTube ended up creating other income streams that I have right now, all within like a very short amount of time. And like I said in my previous video, since then, all I've done was just scale these to make more money from each and every one of them. And I had in the previous slide, because I just did my taxes, I would say like right now it's around $480,000 that I made last year. I was doing a video where I was talking about my actual trading, where I was showing in the video what I was actually making. Now, after speaking with someone, legally, I shouldn't be showing that. So I stopped doing it. So unfortunately, I can't show you my brokerage account anymore. I shouldn't be doing that. But just know that like that account has grown from the last time I posted. I didn't take the videos down. So if you want to go back and watch it, I have a playlist talking about $0 to $1 million in a single year. In that playlist, I was showing how like in a 12-month time frame, I was supposed to be going from wherever I started to $1 million. Now, again, I'm not going to be updating that anymore because as I got more information, I realized the reason why I can't talk about that, or not talk about it, but I can't show it. I can't actually like show it in a video. But I will say this, my advice to you is very, very simple, because when I started this, I really only had enough money to pay my bills. So if you have a job right now, you're in a very similar situation, right? If you at least have, I would say, 2 days off, you can work for those 2 days to build something else up. I mean, that's what I did with e-commerce. So to wrap it all up, I don't care which one that you pick one thing, get really, really good at it. It does not have to be anything on this list, but it should be something that excites you, something that you really want to learn and you want to build, and something that I would say you're not going to be sitting there going, how much time is this going to take? Because if you're worried about the time, you're probably going to fail. Ideally, for tax purposes, a business would be really good. I wouldn't recommend relying on like trading or capital gains. I think that that's a horrible way to try to make money for most people, but to each their own, right? If you're using money to try to make money that you don't already have, or you're leveraging credit, that can really be very, very hard for you to maintain if you cannot comfortably pay that money back. It can be very hard. So I would suggest that you start a business, make money with it, and then figure out how to make that business earn money without it needing your full attention, like so you could do other things. Now, once you have both money and time, that opens the door to so many opportunities. Now, that's why so many people eventually move into social media and other low overhead businesses. And if you want my personal example, that was my turning point. I already had cameras, I already had lights and equipment because, again, music. So I had no excuses, like I can do this, and I should be doing that. And I told myself, look, if I didn't make something happen, I'm not just going to sit around and do nothing all day. If I don't make it happen, I'm going to have to get a job. So I did give myself like a hard deadline, and I never made any excuses. I just got to work. And also one of the main things that I did was like when I do YouTube or anything like that that's related to content, I treat it like a job. The same way, like when you go to a job and you're like racing to work and you're like, oh my God, I can't be late. If you do something for yourself, give yourself that same respect. If you work a job for 8 hours, you take one break, and you just do your best job to make sure that you don't get fired. When you do your own thing, treat your thing like that. Don't treat your thing like it's not a big deal. Don't oversleep. Don't say I'll do it next week because you wouldn't do that for that job. Don't do it for yourself either. Like respect yourself and respect your time. So go ahead and take that first step. Spend 1 year at least focusing on one thing, or like I said, wait until you make $100,000, whichever one that happens first, I guess. Then you want to build systems so you can make money with less of your time. After that, you move on to the next thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. That's how multiple income streams are built. And then eventually making money becomes easier because you'll have more options. Then at that point, it's less about whether you can make money and more about like which path you want to take that you would think is worth your time. Like even for me, like at this point, I'm only one person. I can only spread myself so thin. There are certain income streams where I'm like, okay, well, that's too active. I'm cutting this, and I'm focusing on this because this can scale faster, right? There are some that eventually I don't really need anymore. That kind of freedom is powerful, but it also comes with some anxiety when it comes to building multiple streams of income. And I've talked about that in my previous video. Like none of this is like where you're not going to be scared. You're not going to be nervous. I'm scared all the time. You just figure out how to actually manage your fear. There's nothing wrong with that, to admit it either. I'm afraid all the time that something's going to go wrong. The only thing that you can do is face it, manage it, deal with it. And I also use my fear and anxiety to help me work even harder. Because the way that I see it, if you have like one job or you work for yourself and you have one stream of income, I would think that there's always a risk in that. I think it's risky only having that one source. And again, like that fear of being vulnerable again, that's exactly what pushed me onto this path. And it's why I believe you should start building your own security too. And once again, in 2026 now, I believe that I've figured out the way to scale my income so much with this 10th stream that again, it's going to make more than all 9 combined. And then that's going to be the thing that will allow me to plan my exit from YouTube and every other stream that is very active. So eventually, I just want you to know there is a point where you can plan to where you're like, I'll give 5 years to this, I'll build this. And after that, you can plan your way of like retirement or a soft retirement. That's exactly what I'm doing. I plan on being on YouTube for a certain amount of time. I'm hoping to be done even before that time. I'm on track to do so. And then I can move on to the next thing and get to enjoy more of my life. All right. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that you got a lot of value from it. Share this with someone who you think might need it. I really do enjoy making videos like this from time to time because it gives me a chance to reflect. It also gives me the chance to share my story and to have like a really good conversation with you. Now, like I said in my last video, I don't believe that I'm an influencer or something trying to paint some image. I'm a regular person who just so happens to make videos about, let's say, finance, but I'm just documenting my journey here on YouTube. And a lot of my content over the last few months has gotten like really polished, even so much so that people will be like, oh, this must be AI. But then again, everybody says everything is AI now. So I don't know if that's a compliment. I take it as a compliment because I remember when like my videos were like really ugly to me, like they just look really, really bad. So the fact that people will say that it's so good, it must be fake, I take as a compliment. Like I think that they're saying that I'm doing like a very good job. And I try to be as polished as possible, even with doing more like scripting. Like I prefer to like make it as good as I feel like what other people are doing who have millions of subscribers, because I think that my audience deserves the best. I think they deserve the highest quality piece of content that I could possibly put out. But at the same time, I also think that there is something powerful about honesty and transparency and speaking to people like they're real human beings, because, you know, all of us have to start out somewhere. And I want this channel to always feel like an example of how an average person, an everyday person, can actually work their way up to achieving whatever level of success that they would like to obtain. Anybody can do this. And I feel like me, if I can do it, anybody else watching this video can do the exact same thing. Most of the time, the biggest thing holding people back is not that they're incapable. It truly is that they never start, they never really try. And that is usually what keeps people from becoming the person they want to be or building the life that they actually want to have. So again, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate your support, and I do hope that all of you have a wonderful day.